Greetings adventurers and welcome to the channel. And this is another continuation of the unboxing of Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game. In the previous video we've seen the basic game and we've seen the main 3 towns: Castle, Necropolis and Dungeon. And this time we are opening Stretch Goals Faction Units box, which contains models for the armies of those 3 towns. On the cover we see the Manticor, one of Dungeon's units. Really awesome as always. Now, without any further ado, let's see the models inside. Here we are, and once again I must mention how much I love the design of these boxes, because everything has a slot, everything has its place, it won't get messy once you're done with playing. Now, I'm going to remove the cover so that we can see the models inside. There they are. Every model is color-coded according to the town that they belong. Light blue for Castle, purple for Dungeon, and grey for Necropolis. Now, here is what we are going to do. I'm going to take the dragon. As you can see, awesome details. And speaking of details, like I started saying, this is what we are going to do now. So I'm going to show you each of these miniatures separately, one by one, so that you can see the details. I will also include the heroes from the previous box so that you can see them as well from close up. Right, let's get on to it. And we start with my favorite faction, and that is the Castle. As you can see on the screen, we have the 2 heroes from that town. The Cleric, which is a magic hero, and the Knight, which is a might hero. It even rhymes. As you can see, the sculpts are great, the poses are really good, beautiful details on the models. It will be such a nice fun when I will be painting them. Right. Those are the heroes, and now let's start with the units one by one, starting from the weakest and going all the way up to the strongest. Castle's first unit is the Halberdiers. I love the pose, it's offensive, it looks like he's waiting for the enemy to charge but not giving ground, the halberd on the front, come at me bro pose. Really epic stuff, the details are great. I love how his gambazon is made, lots of little tiny details that will be really giving great expression after it's painted. Well done about this one, love it. The Marksman is the first ranged unit we have in Castle. As you can see, once again, lots of details. I love how they added the quiver on the back, ready with the bolts. And you know, those who've played the video game know how important ammunition is in that game. So also I love how his chainmail is done, very good detail to the smallest one. Awesome stuff. Let's go to the next. Griffins are one of the most noble creatures in the franchise, and here we see a phenomenal sculpt. The pose is great, how the wings are spread, it really gives that regal feel that the Griffin is such a magnificent creature. Awesome sculpt, just like the previous ones. Love it. This is an amazing unit, as well as tabletop, as well as on the video game. I love how they've done this. Bravo! Now we arrive at one of my most favorite units, and that is the Crusaders. Ever stoic, ever vigilant, ever brave knights ready to defend the realm. The pose is just phenomenal. This is another case of come at me bro pose, bravely going forward, never going back to face the enemy. Well done. I love the sculpt, it's phenomenal, it's great. Awesome. Off we go now to the next one. The Zealots are the next ranged unit in the faction, and they are also magicians. As mysterious as they are powerful, this sculpt really brings forward what they are supposed to represent. The mysticism, the magic, the raw power that this unit has is just so well done in the sculpt. And I love how they actually included the magical effect of their attack. Well done, I love that little detail. Off we go to the next one. And next we have another one of my favorites, and that is the Champions. Just like the Crusaders, these guys never back down, never retreat, always charge forward with their lances right through the enemy flanks. This pose is just so epic. There is motion, there is storytelling here. You can see, you can feel the whole weight of the horse going forward, striking at the enemy. Absolutely love this sculpt. And next is my all-time favorite unit in the entire game. The most epic, the most legendary, the Archangels. This unit is just so phenomenal, and I love how they managed to recreate the pose from the very cover of the game. And this is very similar to the original illustration that was featured on the cover of the video game. Everyone who ever played Heroes of Might and Magic 3 knows these guys. These are most legendary. I love the flaming sword, I love every single detail, the wingspan, how they managed to really spot on sculpt how the Archangels look in the video game. That's how we get them here. Epic pose, striking down, charging from the heavens to smite the enemies. Absolute love for this model. And with it, we are done with the units from the castle. Next, little bit of contrast, we are going with the Necropolis and the Undead. The Death Knight and the Necromancer, the two heroes for Necropolis. Death Knight, Might Hero, rhymes again, Necromancer, Magic Hero. Love these sculpts. I love how the Necromancer is on a decaying horse, dead, reanimated zombie horse, while the Death Knight has this epic pose, also charging at the enemy, bringing death and destruction. Love it. Off we go now with the first unit. Just as previously with the castle, we are going with the lowest ranking to the highest ranking. We have some awesome sculpts to show here. Now here we have a unit that is so iconic when it comes to necromancy, and that is the skeleton. Skeletons are basic troops in the Necromancer's army, risen from the dead, ready to spread their vile death and destruction in the name of the Necromancer. The more the better. Big horde unit, strong in big numbers, very iconic. Next is another very iconic unit when it comes to necromancy. Slow yet purposeful. Next we have the zombies. The brains-eating unit, well known through whole pop culture, especially when it comes to the reason dead that walk. See what I did there? Anyway, zombies are the second unit, also another unit that comes in abundance, big horde, lots of them, slow indeed, but when they come, boy oh boy, it is an absolute carnage. The sculpt is great, phenomenal, reflects the units from the video game, well done. When it comes to creatures risen from the dead, we can't miss having some spirits, and they come in the form of wraiths here. These units are ready to haunt the battlefield to bring the chill of death on their enemies. The pose is great, it's scary, it reflects what these things are supposed to represent. Well done once again on the sculpt. I love the robes and how they are tattered, going forward, ready to strike with their chilling bony claws. The children of the night, how sweet music they make. We arrive at one of the most iconic of the undead, the vampires. Awesome sculpt, look at that, really. Once again, it reflects what these creatures are supposed to be. I love how they actually manage to combine the vampire model with the vampire lord model from the video game, and it looks phenomenal. These blood-sucking tyrants on the battlefield suck the blood life of their victims and they heal themselves with it. Really scary stuff when you face them, and I hardly wait to paint this one. Next we have the ranged unit in the range of the units of Necropolis in the form of leeches. These are wizards who transcended their mortality, who sacrificed their mortality in order to gain higher magical power. And believe me when I tell you, these are scary. At least in the video game, the damage output is insane. When these guys strike their enemy, they strike it for good. Scary stuff, also awesome sculpt, great details, the chainmail looks phenomenal, well done, once again, awesome stuff. Now we have arrived at my favorite unit when it comes to Necropolis, the Dread Knights. Take a moment, take a good look at this sculpt. It's insanely good. Starting with the base, the skulls on the rocky ground give such a perfect scenery. Really tells us the story of how scary these guys are. And when they charge on the battlefield, when they strike with their curved sword, they bring curses upon their enemies. Awesome sculpt, very good, very epic. I love how the horse is sculpted. It really gives you that feel that this is an epic unit, but also extremely scary, and this is not someone who you want to meet on the battlefield. Only the most brave of souls can face this and maybe live to tell the tale while the curse is affecting them. This is it's definitely my favorite sculpt in the Necropolis range. Such a well model, well done, I hardly wait to paint it. And last but certainly not the least, we have the strongest unit in Necropolis, and that is the Ghost Dragons. These absolute monstrosities fly over the heads of their enemies, bringing doom and death wherever they strike. The pose, just like every model previously, once again is phenomenal. I love how they bring out the features. You really sense the absolute dread that their enemies are feeling once they see these beasts flying over their heads. Awesome stuff, absolutely love it. And with it, we come at the end of Necropolis. Next, we have Dungeon, and let me show you the heroes. And here we have the heroes of Dungeon. We have the Warlock, which is the magic-based hero, and then we have the Overlord, which is the might hero. And look how epic their poses are, how epic their steeds are, and the banners they hold. They are aggressive. You can get the feel of them charging at the enemy, casting their spells, throwing their curses. Just phenomenal. It's so scenic. I absolutely love it and hardly wait to paint them. Now Once again, as previously, we are going to start with the lowest unit from dungeon and go up to the highest, the most strongest, and boy oh boy, we have some really good deal right there. But patience, we'll get to it. First, let us start from the beginning. The Troglodytes are the first unit, the basic troop of dungeon, and let their blindness not deceive you. They are as vicious as they look, especially when their number is high, when they come in hordes. They really can punch extra damage at the enemies of their army. The sculpt really is great. I love how they bring out a combination actually of the basic Troglodyte and the Infernal Troglodyte from the video game. Awesome stuff, love it. Now let's go to the next one. The Harpies are the next unit. Boy oh boy, how much they are annoying in the video game. These monsters fly over the head of their enemies, slashing them with their talons, slashing them with their daggers. I have to point out something here. I absolutely more like it how they look here in the board game, both the sculpt of this miniature and the artwork, than how they look in the video game. Sorry not sorry, really, that's my opinion. I like them more here than in the video game. In the video game, they really can be annoying, as I said. They can strike and then fly away. It's hard to strike back and all that. Just an awesome unit. Bravo with the sculpt, really love it, as I said. The wings, look at the details on the wings, absolutely fantastic. Right, off to the next unit now. Next we have the Evil Eyes, and they are the first ranged unit in the arsenal of the dungeon. These absolute abominations look like they came out of some Lovecraftian horror tale from which I'm absolutely sure they were inspired. Their tentacles can zap their enemies, their eyes can shoot laser beams that absolutely devastate the enemy troops. Scary stuff, don't want to face one on the battlefield unless one really has to. Right, off we go to the next one now. The Medusas are the second ranged unit in the arsenal of the dungeon army. These are absolutely scary. They shoot arrows, and if you get close enough, they use their magic to petrify their enemies. Really scary once you see some abomination like this, half woman, half snake, with snakes instead of hair. Absolutely scary, very popular in pop culture, very well known, and as we know, Heroes of Might and Magic really draws from mythology and pop culture, and naturally we have the Medusas. When it comes to the next three units that we are going to see, Brutality is the name of the game, and the first one is the Minotaurs. These absolute brutes bring total destruction and devastation with their great axes upon their enemies. I absolutely love the pose here. He is charging with his horns forward. Most likely he will swing his axe next to finish off whatever remains after his initial charge. Love the pose, love the sculpt, the details are great, the armor looks phenomenal, well done. This one is really, really well made. Next, we have another absolutely scary abomination, and that is the Manticor. As the legend says, body of a lion, face of a human, even though here the face is sculpted as well as a lion, wings of a bat, and a tail of a scorpion with a poisonous sting. Now I need to point out something here. I think that this is the only model that I actually have something to complain about, and that is the hair. I mean, I know what they were trying to achieve. It it's supposed to give this feel of wind, I guess, or maybe motion, but I think the mane really goes, how should I put it? It really covers the face of the lion, and in a way it's losing it. At least for me, it doesn't work. The body is great, the tail of the scorpion really looks almost disgusting. The sting is great, the wings, the pose, everything except the head. I'm sorry to say this, but I think that when it comes to the head of this model, they really missed their mark. Oh well, no one is perfect, certainly not this model. Still looks okay, I guess, still looks cool, except that little tiny detail. But the next model, last but not least, we have the biggest, meanest model in the box, and rightfully so, it's the Black Dragons unit model. Take a moment, take a good look and appreciate everything about this model. The pose, the details, the story it tells. This royalty when it comes to these creatures really brings out that feel. I have only praise for this model. The unit is strong and that is really shown here. Absolutely fantastic, well done. I'm going to really love painting this and playing either with it or against it. It's really going to be epic, either controlling this model or trying my best to slay it. It will be a test of strength and it will be epic. Okay, so I'm going to leave the Black Dragon to rotate here so that you can appreciate it. But we came to the end of this video, and before I end it, once again I want to say special thanks to Paul Anthony Romero, the great composer who composed the original soundtrack for Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the video game, who personally allowed me to use the music. The music you see in the background is from the video game. Thank you very much, Sir Paul, for allowing me this honor to play your music in my video. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please subscribe, share the video if you think someone needs to see this, leave a comment. How do you like the models? Did you got them already? Have you painted them? Have you played with them? Which one is your favorite? As you can see, the sculpts are great, you know, plus and minus, some better than others, but generally speaking I like them all, even the Manticor, taking in consideration what I said about its head before. So thank you once again very much for watching, have a happy gaming, and until next time, see you soon!